Retro Games fans, this is Andy C from Piece of 8-Bit. Welcome to our midweek feature, The Bit Between. Something a bit different this week though. No gameplay walkthrough, which is kind of the point of this feature, I know, but it's my channel, so I'll do what I like. No, actually, it's mainly because I wasn't sure where I'd actually fit this in before we get back into our usual month with a feature which starts next week. So on that topic, by the way, stay to the end to find out which console or piece of tech I will be living with through June in the return of the month with proper to be revealed later. So then let's get into it. Some of you may remember that for the last few weeks I've been living with a VCR again. And honestly, yeah, I got mixed feelings about it, which we'll talk about in a moment, of course. There are definitely moments where the nostalgia really kind of hits hard. The sound of that tape loading, the mechanical clunking, and all of the slightly fuzzy picture, all of that, it just completely transports you back to the 80s and 90s again, which is great. But at the same time, VHS is also, well, it's terrible. Not so great, not so good. And after a few weeks of actually using it again properly, you'll quickly remember why we moved on. So let's dive into a little bit of background of the technology, and then I'll tell you what I've been doing and what I've been watching and you know, what it's been like to live with again. So let's dive just straight into a bit of background on VHS, and then we'll crack on. I'll see you in there. So a bit of background to the technology then before I give you my feelings on what it's actually been like to live with. VHS arrived in 1976, it's even older than me actually, and it arrived from JVC, and at the time it completely changed home entertainment forever. Suddenly people were able to record TV, rent movies, build collections and watch things whenever they wanted. It was very expensive to start with, but certainly it was setting the scene for things to come. That all sounds pretty normal now, and back then it was revolutionary, and of course famously VHS almost didn't win. It had a big rival in Sony with the Sony Betamax, and technically the Betamax was actually better. It had sharper image quality, better colour, more reliable tapes, but VHS had a massive advantage, which was that it had longer recording times. You could record 2 hours typically on a tape, or you could record 4 hours on long play and even longer on extended play. Just took a bit of a hit on the quality, and people cared more about recording an entire movie or a football match rather than having the slightly sharper visuals. And honestly, that is still pretty relevant today. Convenience almost always beats quality. JVC also made a really smart move in that they licensed VHS to loads of manufacturers, so suddenly everyone was making VHS players: Panasonic, Sharp, RCA, Hitachi. And that meant cheaper machines for everyone, of course, which meant more people bought VHS. And this is a classic Sony story of kind of hoarding their technology and their patents. We saw it with mini disc, we saw it with the ProStick Duo on the Vita, things like that. You know, like they just did that, and it never works really. Just license your tech, Sony, don't be ridiculous. And eventually Betamax just lost momentum completely, and by the late 80s VHS have basically taken over the world. And this is the bit that's been really interesting for me, because nostalgia and reality are two different things really. When you remember the video shops, the movie nights, the cool box art, the stacks of tape, yeah, you're thinking that's great, I remember that, and you're looking through rose tinted glasses. What you've probably forgotten is the rewinding, the incessant tracking problems, degraded tapes, blurry images, and of course machines randomly eating your cassette. And I'll tell you about that because that did actually happen to me while I've been living with it this month. And modern streaming now, of course, is instant, and it's just so much more convenient. VHS constantly reminds you that it's a physical format though, and that's sometimes charming, and sometimes it is, as we suggest, incredibly annoying. And honestly, the quality really isn't great, as in the quality is dreadful by modern standards. We're so spoiled with HD, 4K, even 8K. Even though I do struggle to see the benefit of the latter with my aging eyesight, it starts to become law of diminishing returns, I think. But even so much so that a modern standard definition broadcast now is quite poor, and many people see that as unacceptable. Now on a CRT TV, VHS has a certain warmth to it, but on a modern screen, as I've seen, there are definite limitations. It's soft, noisy, unstable, and after a few weeks with it, I would definitely not say things were better back then, because they absolutely weren't. DVD arrived, of course, and that changed everything. You had sharper image, no rewinding, no tape wear, instant chapter skipping, and as soon as streaming arrived after that, well, VHS was basically finished. I think it was finished before that, to be honest with you. Let's be realistic about it. So let's talk about what it's been like for me to live with the VCR for a month. I'll tell you a little bit about the player that I've got and how you can get into it and what sort of things I've been watching. Yeah, I'll give you some of my experiences in case you're thinking about going back and checking out this old tech for yourself. I'll see you in there. Right then, well, I've been living with this. This is my LG video recorder. You can still find these actually. Now, my story of coming across this one is quite interesting actually. Well, I think it's interesting, you may not. This is a really, really late generation VCR. Now, I had a video recorder when I was at uni in the 90s, and I had a Matsui one from Curry's, and it cost me about £200, and it was absolute rubbish. It was terrible. I had all sorts of problems with the tracking. It didn't always work. Sometimes you put tapes in and they just wouldn't play properly and it would slip, and it cost a lot of money. £200 in the 90s, especially for me as a student, was a lot of money. When I was working in the early 2000s, I've always been someone who adopts technology quite early on, but I had a friend over to watch a video one night, and we went out to Blockbuster and we rented our video, and I couldn't get it to work, and it was really annoying. And I said, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy a new video recorder. And I put in my mind, I put £200. I thought, I've got a bit of money, I'll put £200 aside and I'll go and buy a VCR. And what I came back with was a DVD player. This was in the days before I had a PlayStation 2, a DVD player and a VHS for £200. This, I think, cost me about £60 or £70, give or take, and then I bought a DVD player for about, I think I spent a bit more than 200, I think it was about 140, 150 quid, which obviously by today's standards seems insane for a DVD player, but it was a very early generation one, and I thought it was absolutely fantastic. But I still got a load of videotapes, so I still wanted videos. Now the interesting thing about this is that this was really cheap. It was brand new, but it was really cheap. But when I had my video recorder from the 90s, it was like 2 heads, stereo sound only. I think it had Video Plus. I'll talk to you about that in a second. But not much else really. It wasn't great. So when I bought this, it had Nikon digital stereo. It had 6 heads, automatic tracking. It was just really, really good. Really rapid rewind, all that kind of thing. Like I said, Video Plus as well. It's got this little easy view window in the top, which is completely useless. You can't see anything through it. But this was like, this would have been a top-end video recorder even 5 years before I bought it. But by the time I bought it in 2000, I guess, it was cheap. And it was really kind of the end of the VCR era. It was really starting to draw to a close. So that's what I got, and it still works fantastically today. As you can see, it's playing away here. I popped some movie trailers on, so I don't get a copyright strike on my channel. Hopefully that'll be all right. Yeah, I've got a few videos. I picked a few videos up from Charity Shop, 50p each, so you can go and get some old videos. Now, one of the advantages of going back and watching VCRs, VHS these days, is sometimes you can find videos that you can't find, that were never released on DVD. All of these ones were. These are all pretty common movies here. Aaron Brockovich, Bone Collector, those sorts of things. Those are all pretty common movies. I've seen them a million times. I've seen them on streaming. I've seen them on DVD. I think I've got a DVD for a couple of them as well. But there are videos that you'll find in shops somewhere, like if you go into a charity shop, you'll find a VHS that was just, it was never released, an old TV series or something like that was never ever released before, which is kind of cool. But what has it been like to actually live with? Well, yeah, you quickly forget. There's that nostalgia thing. So when you go back and play vinyl, when you're thinking about music, there is a certain nostalgia to it. There's the taking the record out of the sleeve and popping it on and just putting there's the sort of smell to it, and you put the needle on and you play the music and everything else like that. It's so much driven by nostalgia, because actually it's a pretty common fact now, and people may disagree with me, but it is a well-known thing that CD quality and modern streaming is better quality than you'll ever get on a vinyl record. But it's the nostalgia of having the record, playing the record and everything else that people really like. I was wondering whether I would get that same feeling for VHS, and you do to a certain degree. When you get a tape out, You get the big tape out and you have a look in there and you're about to watch your movie and you realise it's not been rewound. This one has. You know, there is a nostalgia to it. There's the nostalgia to the sound and everything else. But whereas vinyl versus modern streaming or CD is not significantly different in terms of quality, VHS is. It's more analogous to getting an audio tape. And I think there has been a bit of a resurgence of audio tapes in recent years. I don't know why, because audio tapes are pretty awful. They were really a format that you could take while you're traveling with you. So from that point of view, it made sense. Obviously nowadays there's just no need for audio tape at all, other than just that nostalgia of having a tape and popping it in and pressing play. And that's all it is with VHS. And there's not even any portable nature to VHS either. It is just not great at all. I watched Aaron Brockovich, and we were watching that, and the kids came and watched it as well. It's a great movie, and we were watching it, and the kids, my youngest son was blown away by just how terrible the quality was, and it was really awful on the big TV. Now this videotape actually is good in as much as because it's a more modern one. It's got good stabilization. There's no tracking. It's all done automatically, and actually the video picked for a VHS, for a VCR. The quality is actually not too bad. It's better than you know, if you bought one from the sort of 80s, you know, one of the old top loader ones or something like that. But I made the mistake. We watched half the film, and we made the mistake of going out and leaving the video cassette in the tape recorder. And when you put the tapes in, basically, it sort of pops the top. Basically, pops the top open like this, and then something grabs the tape and it pulls it under tension, and then it pulls it through the heads and plays the movie. When you just leave it in there, I don't think we left it paused. I think we just left it in there. I don't think we paused it. I mean, that was always a no-no anyway. Never leave a video paused for a long period of time because it would stretch the tape. But we just left it in there. And I think because the tapes themselves are also old and the VCR is old as well, when we came back and played it again, it wouldn't play. And then when I went to take it out, I took it out, and then all of the tape was still inside the player. So I managed to get the tape back out, and I managed to wind it back, but we couldn't get it to play. So I had to sort of manually wind the video back a little bit past the point where the tape was damaged. And then we were able to get it to play. But it just was slipping and it wouldn't play. It was a nightmare. And it was at that moment I was like, oh God, I don't really want to go back to this. I had memories of just tapes being chewed and not working, and I'd be a bit of tape where you left it paused for too long and you get like a little wobble over the TV. So it was yeah. Very quickly realised that this isn't a format that I particularly want to invest in. I was considering buying a load of videotapes and building a bit of a collection up again, but there's just no point. There's just no point. So there you go. That's what my experience has been like. I've been watching a few of these. Watched, what have we watched? Bodyguard. Erin Brockovich mentioned What Lies Beneath, Bone Collector. So I watched a few movies. But to be honest with you, just go find the streaming version or go and find a DVD. Even that's going to be better now. It's just not worth it unless you really do want to. If you've got a CRT TV, maybe that's a good thing too. But if you really do feel the need to go and get VCR, I would definitely recommend buying a newer one. You can still pick these up pretty cheap, actually. I thought I'll hang on to this because it'll be expensive one day. But actually, VCRs are still really cheap. You can pick one up for £50 or £60 still. This model in particular, you can find online, and it's a good one. Buy a late one if you want. That's the best quality that you're going to get. With all the extra heads and the better stereo sound and everything else. Audio, incidentally, was actually pretty good. I was actually quite impressed by how good the audio still was, but the picture quality was not great at all. So yeah, some of the features then on this that were quite cool at the time. One is that it used to set the clock automatically, which was over the analog broadcast signal. That doesn't work anymore, so you have to set it manually. There is quite a cryptic menu on this device with lots and lots of settings on there, which is yeah, quite fun. But yeah, it's got other things. Like it's got the visual fast forward and backward, which most videotapes had in the end. That was quite common. Very, very fast rewind speed. I don't know what it's got this thing called Video Doctor. I never remember what that was. Please drop a comment below if you want to. And of course Video Plus. And Video Plus, I don't know if this was something that was in the US, but certainly in the UK, Video Plus was interesting. So we used to get our TV listings magazines, and if you were going away or you were going out for the evening, what you would do is you program in all the things you wanted to watch, and you would have the start, you put the start time, the stop time, what channel, and then you could set maybe 5 or 6 different programs. If you're going away on holiday, there was this thing, if you're going away for like a week or 2 weeks, this thing at the beginning where you would set like your schedule. The more modern video recorders, you could have quite a lot of programs in there. You'd set your schedule before you went away. You'd go on holiday, there'd be a power cut while you're away, you'd come back, nothing was recorded, or they changed the schedule, they changed the time, or whatever. But you had something called Video Plus, and basically in your TV listings guide, you'd have a code, and you would just basically just type in this random number. I never to this day understood how it works, but you type in this random number, and it would know what the program was, and it would automatically set it up to record for you. So that was a pretty cool thing. And this also had something called PDC, which was Program Delivery Control, where basically the broadcasters would send a signal to say the program's about to start. So if there'd been a delay, say you were watching a sport event and it had overrun and your episode of Quantum Leap was running 10 minutes late because Wimbledon was on, then the Program Delivery Control, it would mean that it wouldn't start the recording until that program had actually started, which meant that you didn't miss. Typically you would miss the end because it would start recording at 9 and then it would finish recording at 10, and then if you had like, you know, because it started late, it would overrun by 10 minutes, and that was one of the most infuriating things. You got to all this effort of setting your programs up, and then you'd miss the last 10 minutes, and there was literally nothing you could do about it because it wasn't likely going to be repeated. There were no +1 channels, there was no streaming, there was no catch up. That was it. You just missed it, and you'd have to say, what happened at the end of Quantum Leap last night, because my video recorder chopped the last 10 minutes off. So you used to have things like Program Delivery Control. All of those things, including Video Plus, meant that at the end of the life of VHS and VCRs, it was a little bit more palatable to live with. But we would, you know, wouldn't be many years before we would start seeing things like Sky Digital and your Series Link and stuff like that, which again just changed everything. You never had to think about it. And of course nowadays I barely even record anything on my Skybox. I just watch stuff on iPlayer or streamed via Disney Plus or Netflix or whatever. So it is a very, very different world. We're quite spoiled. So a lot of stuff, a lot of talking from me there. If you do want to get back into it, like I said, you can buy yourself one of these video recorders. If you're plugging it into a modern TV, you will need an adapter. Actually, the cheaper adapters, a bit like with a NES when I did the review the other week, the cheaper adapters actually work better than something like an OSSC. In fact, I don't think the OSSC works even at all. So you can buy something here for that, and that will get you an HDMI output, and you can plug that into your TV and you can watch it that way. But if you've got a big TV like we've got, a 55-inch 4K TV, watching VCR on that is absolutely dreadful. It just does not look great at all. So probably only worth doing if you've got an older CRT TV anyway, or an old LCD TV with a SCART in the back of it. So you can get back into it if you want to. There's lots of places you can find VCRs in the actual cassettes themselves. You'll typically find them in charity shops, but there's a few sort of retro resellers that will also sell them as well, you can find. But my advice would be don't bother. What this has been an exercise in is reminding me just how good we have it now when it comes to television, the quality, the ease, the accessibility, all of those things. And I do miss, on a Friday night, I still go to the cinema. I love going to the cinema, that's an event. But there was also that sort of in between where you're like, I don't really want to go to the cinema. I just want to chill out at home. So we'll go to the video shop, and you'd spend ages looking around your local Blockbuster Video, trying to find something to watch. And, you know, like we would buy some popcorn at a ludicrously inflated price and some M&Ms, and you'd sort of browse through what movies there were. And it was a good way of watching stuff before, quite often the video shops would get it before it'd even be in the shops for you to buy, so you could watch a movie that way. So if you hadn't seen it at the cinema, you didn't have to wait too long before it'd be in your local Blockbuster. And I missed that. I missed the event of going to your local Blockbuster Video and looking for something. We still do it now. We still spend ages looking for stuff on Netflix. We'll spend half an hour flicking through stuff and deciding what we want to watch. That bit hasn't changed, but I think the event of going out and doing it, I kind of miss a little bit. But that is small fry compared to the convenience that we have of modern movie watching and documentary watching at home now, and even broadcast television. It's just, everything is just so much easier now. You don't have to worry about recording things or missing things or anything else like that. It's just, all of that is gone. So yeah, it is. It has been an interesting few weeks living with VCR, but this is going back in my cupboard, and it's probably going to stay there for a while. I don't know. It's going to be a curiosity maybe one day for the grandkids, and you know, we'll drag it out again and go, hey, look at this. This is how we used to watch movies back in the 90s and the 80s. And they'll just go, why did you bother? It's really awful. My kids said the same. There you go then. So that is it. That was my long ramble of what it's been like to live with the video recorder for video VCR, VHS, whatever it is, for the last few weeks. Hope you found that interesting. Yeah, don't bother. That would be my advice. Don't bother. But yes, important technology nonetheless. So coming up on the channel then, on Friday we will be doing I'll be telling you what it's been like to go up to the Birmingham market. So as I'm recording that, I've not been yet, so that's coming up pretty soon. Well, for me that's tomorrow, so for you it'll be a couple of days after this has gone out. So looking to get a few bits and pieces there. Yeah, the other thing I also need to talk to you about is what's coming up in the month with. So for those of you who watch my channel, you'll know that I have a feature which runs regularly called the month with, and I will pick some old technology and I will decide so I tell you what it's been like to live with for a month, and you know, tell you what games I've been playing and how you can get back into it and all those kind of things. So people seem to like that. People seem to engage with it, but I took a month off just because there's lots of stuff going on at the moment. Obviously I decided just to kind of do a month with light with the VCR, but it's going to be normal service resumed back through June. Yeah, I shall reveal to you in just a moment what that next machine is going to be for June. Quick background. So I was supposed to be getting a reimagined Amiga 1200 in June, but Retro Games Limited have delayed the release until December. So I was hoping to do a bit of an unboxing with you and tell you what it would be like to live with for a month. And yeah, I was sort of quite excited about it, a bit disappointed that it's been delayed, but I understand, it's fine. So what I've decided to do this month then is I am going to, and I've been wanting to do this for ages, I am going to be living with this bad boy. This is the Amiga 500 Plus for the next month. Now this is an incredibly important machine in terms of my gaming history. So I've wanted to wait a little while. I wanted to wait until I got at least 1,000 subscribers before I did it, because it's a really important device for me. Now what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have the Amiga 500 in here, and I will have the Amiga 500 Mini, which is a reimagined 500, in the living room, because it's just going to be easier to do that in there. So I'll have that set up in there rather than having this beast in there. I'm not entirely sure where I'm going to fit the Amiga 500 Plus in here, to be perfectly honest with you. We'll work it out. So I'm going to be living with that. I'll tell you what some of the things that I've been playing. I'll tell you a little bit about the Amiga history, because it's quite interesting. And a couple of the mods that I've made to it, all those kind of things. We'll cover all of that over throughout the month of June. So stay tuned for lots of Amiga based features over the next 4 weeks. Yeah, that is pretty much it really for this week. So thanks for tuning in. Apologies it's not been game related, and apologies it's been a bit of a long rambling session, but I just wanted to tell you what it's been like to live with the VCR for the last 4 weeks. But other than that, just leaves me to say, oh yeah, if you enjoy these videos, leaves me to say, please do hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for your support on that. Other than that, please do all take care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, bye for now.